Whitehall's never seen anything quite like it. Hordes of cameramen, reporters and onlookers outside the Cabinet Office on a Sunday afternoon, all equally in the dark about what was happening inside. Until, that is, just before 6 o'clock, when the men haggling over the shape of our next government emerged.
Well, we've had some very positive and productive discussions over many key policy areas. The issues that we have covered have included political reform, economic issues and reduction of the deficit, banking reform, civil liberties, environmental issues.
We intend to have further discussions in the next 24 hours. We're agreed that whatever any agreement made will have deficit reduction and a credible plan to ensure economic stability at its heart. Thank you very much.
Promising more talks to come, they left, no deal having been done, but with it clear to all that they're not now merely going through the motions. These are real and substantial talks. Today's negotiations lasted more than 5 hours, with civil servants on hand to help. Sitting round the table for the Conservatives, George Osborne, William Hague, Oliver Letwin and Ed Llewellyn, David Cameron's Chief of Staff, who rather usefully once worked with Nick Clegg's wife and with his mentor Paddy Ashdown. Facing them on the other side are Lib Dem MPs David Laws, Chris Huhne, Danny Alexander and Andrew Stunnell. So, 3 days after his party won most votes and MPs, David Cameron woke up on this street, not Downing Street.
Mr Cameron, how was the meeting with Nick Clegg?
Very good.
Tonight, the two men met again for 45 minutes, another meeting officially described as amicable. They get on much better with each other than either gets on with Gordon Brown. Policy may be the key, but personal chemistry surely helps.
I had a meeting with David Cameron yesterday, took a call from Gordon Brown. Everyone's trying to be constructive for the good of the country.
And just listen to the mood music when close friends of the men, Paddy Ashdown and Michael Gove, arrived together to appear on this morning's breakfast TV sofa.
I admire the way the Conservative Party has responded to this. I think Mr Cameron showed a considerable degree of leadership.
Now listen to him talk about Gordon Brown.
Amongst his personal qualities, it seems to me, is not one that makes him an easy or very able leader of a collegiate-style government.
Minutes later, he swapped places with someone eager to return the compliment.
We want to make sure that we can work together in the next few years, and that means that we need to listen to what Liberal Democrat priorities are and make sure that they have a fair opportunity to help shape the agenda for the future.
And you would be prepared to concede, to give up your cabinet seat to make this happen?
Yes.
Now, don't imagine that Gordon Brown is simply waiting for his rivals to consummate their relationship. Today, he invited Nick Clegg to meet him at the Foreign Office to hear his rival offer.
Keep moving, guys, keep moving.
The Lib Dems may be listening to Labour, but they're actively talking to the Conservatives. They're offering them a deal the like of which has not been seen in British politics for decades.
We're nearly there.
His office, he meant, but what about a deal? Nick Robinson, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, Gordon Brown returned with his family from Scotland back here to Downing Street earlier today and met senior colleagues, including Lord Mandelson. Mr Brown is already facing a few calls from Labour MPs for him to resign as party leader. But in a defiant email to Labour Party workers, thanking them for their work on the campaign, Mr Brown said that his resolve hadn't changed at all, as Vicky Young reports.
He's Prime Minister, but for now, Gordon Brown's on the sidelines, watching and waiting as others try to form a government. He has a constitutional duty to stay in the job until it's clear that someone else can do it. But even some colleagues think his time's up.
Everyone has to go with dignity at some stage. And frankly, I think Gordon will recognise now that his days are numbered. Now, whether that means days or weeks, that's not the important thing. But we do need new leadership. We need a fresh start, sadly in opposition.
But Gordon Brown's not giving up yet, so what are his chances of forming a coalition? Well, the winning line for any party is 326 for an overall majority. If the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats join forces, they're home and dry. But Labour MPs plus the Liberal Democrats totals 315. So Mr Brown would have to bring others on board, the SNP and Plaid Cymru, but also the SDLP and the Green and Alliance MPs.
The Liberal Democrats haven't ruled out a deal like that. They say they're talking to the Tories and listening to Labour, which is exactly what happened here at the Foreign Office this afternoon, when Nick Clegg and Gordon Brown had face-to-face discussions for the first time. Mr Brown talked about the ongoing economic crisis, pointing out it was a European problem and questioning whether the Conservatives would really have any influence over EU leaders.
But Nick Clegg's already made it clear he'd be reluctant to keep Mr Brown in Downing Street after voters have rejected him. A new Labour leader could be the price the Lib Dems demand, and that's not being ruled out.
The Liberals are still talking to the Conservatives. They haven't come to talk to us. When they come to talk to us, of course we'll listen to what they've got to say, but they'll have to listen to what we've got to say too.
Others have been more supportive.
I think the party do still want him, and we want to hear what he's got to say. And as far as other colleagues are rushing to television studios to call for Gordon Brown to go, I think it's unfortunate.
Mr Brown has spent the day in Downing Street meeting colleagues, no doubt discussing which options are still open to them at this uncertain time. Vicky Young, BBC News, Westminster.
And with me here in Downing Street is our political editor, Nick Robinson. Nick, where are we tonight?
Well, where we are is make your mind up time for Nick Clegg and the Liberal Democrats. They maybe don't have to do it tonight, they maybe don't have to do it tomorrow morning, but they've got to do it pretty soon, particularly with the pressure of the markets opening tomorrow in the middle of a crisis. All the signs are still that they won't go for a full coalition with the Tories, but they are doing the detailed work for a looser arrangement. Inside there, they are still hopeful that the Tories may not give the Liberal Democrats what they want, and they may come rushing through the door of number 10 and take up Gordon Brown's offer. But meantime, Cabinet Ministers, some, are saying to Gordon Brown, give it up. We've done perfectly well. We can fight from opposition. We can come back. Now is not the time to do a deal which Nick Clegg has told Mr Brown would be regarded as illegitimate by the voters, a coalition, if you like, of the losers rather than of the winners. What's the final outcome, you? I don't know any more than I did when the voting began at 10 o'clock on voting night.
We'll have another word later. Nick, thanks very much for now. Nick Robinson there. Well, the talks continue. Nick hinted there against the backdrop of severe problems in some of the European economies.